Audio Jungle.
Hey gang, what's happening? It's Brady from Monkey Edge here again live, Atlanta 2012 Blade Show, and I am standing in the Microtech booth with Mr. Tony Marfione of Marfione Customs and obviously of Microtech Knives, and Mr. Hank Greenberg, Hank's guy facilitator or something, right? You know, first of all, thanks for taking the time out to talk with us here. And there was kind of some big news at the show, right? Why don't you let you go away here and talk about what the award was for?
You know, we got the I think it's American Made Knife of the Year award was for the Socom. They're sharp. The Socom Delta this year. You know, the new knife. You know, kind of as a rendition of an early, trilogy of some of the knives that we've had since the early 1990s. You know, the Socom's been a hallmark of one of our designs, but we've taken it to definitely some new limits this year. You know, a lot of the influence based on input that Hank has given us from our customers, you know, and just a beautiful piece. We're very, very pleased.
Well, I mean, congratulations. Yeah, it really is kind of cool, as I've seen the Microtech line through the years, obviously to see that lineage to those older models, but yet taken with, as an evolution and as a growth out of those. And this obviously is a titanium handled version of it. It's also been done in G10 and carbon fiber, but you draw a distinction between. You labeled it as beta titanium, which I think a lot of folks might not quite understand the difference between beta titanium and your standard 6.4 AO, V type of stuff. So I want to kind of like let the guys in on what the advantages are of the beta titanium compared to the standard stuff.
Well, there's so many different alloy grades of titanium available today. I mean, part of what we look forward to is just, we take it the extra mile by going with a beta, or, a beta is kind of a generic term for any of the titanium alloyed grades that are heat treatable. Right. So we like having, you could use a pure titanium, you get the lightness, you get the advantages of the corrosion and so forth, but you just don't get, some of the hardness properties that'll make springs and back straps and things along these lines. So we just opted to just go ahead and just stick with a heat treatable beta grade. It's a little bit more expensive, a little bit tougher to work, but not impossible. There's no rocket science here. We're just using a better, more traceable grade. I mean, a lot of the folks unfortunately have to deal with suppliers that, you don't know where your material's coming in from. You don't know if it's coming in from Russia, you don't know if it's coming in from South Africa, but, we typically like to deal with, carpenter metals and some of the traceable areas, and yes, they have grades that are aerospace or what they call, refined grades for medical. We don't have to go that far, but we do like to use something that we can have that has a little bit of a hardness to it. Won't ding and ching that easy, tougher to machine, but at the end of the day, it just gives us the integrity we're looking for.
And it builds that accountability into your suppliers, and that you know exactly what you're getting rather than a gray chunk of aluminum. If I can get Mr. Tom, our camera guy, to come in here, and maybe we could talk about some of the features if we can get in close. Obviously, like we talked about, it's an evolution of classic Microtech designs, but there's really some different stuff here going on compared. Why don't we talk about this lock bar insert here? I don't know if you can you get in on that, Tom?
On the lock bar insert, contrary to what you believe today, and we don't toot our own horn, but the insert upon the, locking bar, whether it's an integral locking bar or a lock tab, we've been, early in 1996, we started doing mini Socom manuals, which actually had a screwed-in liner tab. And the reason for that is we knew that, hey, these things, they're mechanical mechanisms. They are designed to wear with tough use, but rather than replacing the entire knife or replacing a locking bar, why not just make a removable tip that you can go ahead and replace in the event that if it gets damaged or worn out. So we pioneered that very early on. There's a lot of influence. You can see how influential, that design has been with a lot of different folks. So we reiterated that back in today. Titanium does not make a very good bearing surface, even though we've made integral knives. and there's a certain means of oxidizing the tips of them to get them to quit sticking. We use a hardened 17.4 pH tip that we could adjust in our manufacturing process to get the lockup we have. So that's one of the features, not new to Microtech or new to the industry, but
again, that evolution.
That evolution back into the system itself. Another really key feature, typically a lot of the Microtech folders back in the day had a hardened and ground bushing system with either thrust washers or something along those lines. All the new folders, whether it be the Whale Shark or the Delta, we are using a ceramic bearing with a Delrin 100 base. And what makes ours a little bit more unique, again, it's not nothing new. Chris Reeve and Gavin Hawk introduced us to this bearing system, said, Tony, you need to be using it. But we've really taken it to the next level because the new bearings themselves, typically folks would manufacture these by making the disc, drilling holes and pressing the ceramic balls into them. What we went the next further is we created an injection mold tool that actually has the ball shaped right into the pocket. So when these balls snap in, they roll. So there's no additional braking period, or if you disassemble the knives, the balls don't go rolling all over the place.
They're in the carpet,
yes, they're actually captured into the mechanism itself. Again, and we're willing to share that with anybody we know here. We've given some to Chris, given some to Gavin, and we're more than welcome to return that favor. So that bearing system, again, one other feature we do, again, titanium, again, does not make a good bearing surface. All our knives have these new strike plates incorporated into them. You can see them just here. Any of the hard points, whether it's upon opening or closing, you can see them. We manufacture those out of a pre-hardened 440A at 56 Rockwell. Mesh those up against your blade, you just get a glassy, smooth surface with no galling. So in the event...
These inserts,
yes.
Yeah, that's what I was...
All the knives have them.
Yeah, as this, because the thumb stud actually is acting as your stop bar as well.
Right. That's right.
And rather than impacting on the handle material, whether that be the titanium, the carbon fiber, the G10, there's actually hardened steel inserts in here, which are going to be a little bit hard to catch on camera, but we'll get some photos in there.
You can see it just a little bit better on some of the carbon fiber models. But what we also do is that strike plate also does another feature, not only for the bearing system, but when you tie the pivot, stop point, or a third location into place, making these out of composite material, you get a strength in those pieces that are just unmatched.
Right.
Aside
extremely
from
rigid and without being overly stiff. It's an extremely smooth operating knife too, but still maintains that strength and rigidity there.
Exactly.
So, and I guess one more thing I wanted to talk about the grinds on this. We've had a lot of comments. Guys have been excited about it. It's not your standard your standard Tonto grind.
No. On any of the hand ground stuff that we do here, it's been dubbed a couple different names, whether it's a star grind pattern or however they call it, but the multifacets on the grind itself is something that we pioneered very early on. It's a difficult grind, not impossible to do. It makes it a little bit more tricky though when you're matching up a grind to what they call a blood groove or a fuller groove on the blade. So it gives the knife some beautiful character, but I definitely got to be on my heels when I'm grinding this for sure.
You don't have a lot of room for whoops, especially it's especially stunning in the satin and then the high polished blades. It really gives that extra. So congrats again for it's an outstanding design, and obviously that was recognized and acknowledged here. Do either one of you guys kind of want to, not without letting anything out of the bag, but kind of what's in the plans for Microtech this year? Without giving away specifics or whatever you feel comfortable.
I'm going to let Hank have that because I know as you introduced Mr. Greenberg, Hank came on board specifically. His specific function is to manage Marfione custom knives, which in a sense not only manages the output, the shows, the public relations. There's many different hats that Hank brings on. Aside, even also with the new E4 coming on board, he's also going to be wearing a hat on that side. But Hank has done an absolute unbelievable job keeping us managed on that end. It allows me to focus a little bit more on design, but Hank's been the spearhead of this thing, and he could tell you a little bit of what's coming up.
Thank you. That means a lot, sir. Thank you. This isn't my first rodeo, staying next to Brady.
I get bigger every time though. Hank
Dude,
just
bro.
keeps getting more muscular, and I keep getting up a T-shirt
But,
size.
but on a serious note, man. On a serious note, we're proud to say that we're working with Monkey's Edge. We will be doing an exclusive project with Monkey's Edge. We will be doing a collaboration with Mick Strider. It's going to be
what?
It's going to be
Boom! Bombshell. All right.
It's going to be an Anthony Marfione Mick Strider collaboration. We're both parties very excited.
Very excited.
I can't give any hints. It will come out of the top or out of the side and have buttons on it. We have a lot of plans, a few other collaborations that I can't discuss on camera. A lot of great stuff going on. I'm proud to be representing a company that's been pioneering the industry for 20 years. Okay, we're all fanboys over here. I mean, me and Brady have been collecting Microtech since we were kids, and it's to be passionate about a product and then work for the company or even represent the product.
Right.
The stuff that goes into this, the heart and soul of Tony working 18-hour days, running a plant, a 20,000 square foot facility, working on firearms, then knives, sharpening production knives, custom knives, doing R&D. We put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, and we always get scrutinized for a lot of stuff. And we just want to let the whole entire custom knife industry and our fans know that we appreciate the support. Without you guys, we'd be nothing.
Yeah, I'd literally be digging a ditch in Phoenix, Arizona, and it's hot there, and I'm too fat to be sweating and stuff. But no, in all seriousness, what Hank said, and you want to put that down so I can move my mic here.
I can't help it. I'm addicted.
Don't
to
want to
it.
lose my finger. No, in all, I honestly didn't know he was kind of let that cat out of the bag, but the fanboy, the geek, or whatever you want to call it, in me is excited because anytime you see people collaborate, it's almost cooler when it's people that are kind of coming from totally different approaches to a common subject, right? And I said different, meaning one's not better than the other. I think Tony would agree that he's kind of approaches knife design from a very analytical and kind of like an engineering, a lot of materials and et cetera, and Mick kind of approaches it like a wild animal, like making just beastly tools, so crazy, almost like the AK-47 of the knife world. So watching those worlds kind of come together,
It's going to be exciting.
it's going to be cool because it's going to be unlike anything that you would see from Tony or from Mick, and coming together and kind of taking the best parts of both. So that's pretty exciting. I didn't know Hank was going to let that out here. So you heard it here first at Monkey Edge, and as that comes down the timeline, keeps tuned for updates and what have you and stuff. And so again, Tony, thanks for taking the time out. I know this is a very busy show for you, and congrats again on how many years have been 20-something years in the game,
and 20 years next year.
Yeah, and still pushing the envelope and winning. Not that winning the trophies makes it all worth it, but it's kind of nice to be acknowledged to still be progressing.
Listen. It's a pat on the back from people we respect within the industry. And that's what it's all about. Everybody wants to just raise the bar for the next generation of knife makers, because we don't want them to be just just doing nothing. We want everybody to strive for the best.
And thanks to you, Mr. Greenberg, for taking your time out and
thank you.
And appreciate it. And
to everybody that's been supporting Microtech and Marfione Custom and MSAR. Thank you. We greatly appreciate it.
All right. Hey, thanks again for tuning in. We'll be back at you from Sweatlanta 2012 with more knife goodness. See you.